word here. You're from Las Vegas? No
Yeah,
clue, girl.
everyone says that.
No way.
Yeah, everyone's surprised when I say that. They're like, "What? I've never met anybody." I'm like, yeah, like if people meet me, they don't know that. They think most people probably most people think I'm from the Caribbeans or somewhere when
Oh,
they
do
meet me.
they? They do, huh?
Yes, I'm like, no, I'm from the desert.
You're from the desert.
The
What?
dry desert.
And how
Yes.
long? Well, we can just start by at least letting people know your name, and then let's talk about like how long you've been where you are now. I won't give it away, but you can share. So, tell folks who
Okay.
you be.
Who I be? Well, my name is actually unique, and it's spelled how it sounds. My IG handle is I am Yogi Unique. So that's what most people know me as, but it's unique. And that's my name. I'm originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, so Sin City. I was born and raised there. I've been raised in Chicago, California. My dad was actually in the Navy, so we moved around pretty much
Oh,
a little
wow.
bit. So
Mm-hmm.
I have family all over. But I moved from Vegas to Texas, and I lived there for 8 years. And then my family, we moved to Kansas, and we lived there for probably two. And then we moved to Georgia, and that's where I am now.
You're in Georgia. All right, we be loving
Uh-huh.
Georgia. I won't say why.
Yeah. So yeah,
And what part of Georgia are you in?
I live in the northwest Georgia
Mm-hmm.
area. So outside of Atlanta, like Kennesaw, Marietta
Oh, okay.
area
Yeah,
up there.
I'm familiar. Some people might not be, but I'm familiar. Our oldest grandson, is in school at where the heck is he? Georgia Tech.
Okay, so that's downtown.
Hmm. He's in grad school there, and we've done a fair amount of work. Excuse me, in the Atlanta area, and I'm familiar with
Okay.
the Marietta area. And our oldest son, for a while, lived in Macon. Believe it or not, when he was
Okay.
in I think he was doing an internship there, like sometime it's been a while, a long time ago. So you stayed there in Georgia, huh?
Yeah, that's where I be. That's where I be.
That's where you be. So
Yeah.
we don't know each other all that well. We do to a certain degree. I was trying to think. I don't even remember
Right.
how we connected. How did we connect? Uh,
It was a yoga challenge.
it was a yoga
That's
challenge.
how yeah.
What? Which one was
I
it?
care. It was so long ago. It feels like so long ago. I don't know. I don't know if you invited me to one or I invited, I think
Yeah.
you invited me to one. Then I started inviting you to other ones. So yeah, that's how we kind of
That's how
connected
we,
with that.
yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
You know, people sort of minimize the impact of what social media can be. I mean, it can be ugly, nasty,
Right.
negative, and all that. But I think a lot of people miss the real connections that can happen in terms of relationships and building a sense of community. So it's kind of really nice to be able to chat with people as I sort of, look at my feed and I go, how did I? How
Yeah.
long ago was that? Y'all know I'm getting old. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it's been quite a while. It's definitely been quite a while. But I don't think I know
Yeah.
much about how you got started in yoga, and um, I know a fair amount about your hmm, positive connections, about those of us uh, yogis of color, and all that. And
Yeah.
oh, I want you to talk to people about your tea thingy. I don't want to spill the beans on that either, but I want you to share that. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in yoga, what your thoughts and feelings are about that start. Yeah, let's go there.
Okay. Wow. Um, I started doing yoga. Uh, I would probably have to say maybe mm, 2014, probably maybe 2015.
Mhm.
Um, it really started for me between that transition year, 2014, 2015. I started having a lot of epileptic episodes
Oh, wow.
at that time. So I mean, I've been having them since I was 12, but I never really went to the doctor and kind of went through the whole thing of finding out what it is, what onsets it, all that type of thing. So
Mhm.
around that year, that's kind of when it started getting bad. I was working full time and going to grad school full time, dealing with family life and all of that. So all of those stressors kind of onset that to where they were happening more often than they usually did.
Oh.
So that's kind of what pushed me into yoga because it was kind of just like I needed something that was going to help me relieve stress
Mhm.
and just let stuff go.
Right, right, right.
To deal with stuff um internally, should I say, yeah, at that point that needed to be addressed. So that's
Mhm.
kind of what led me into that.
Well, did
And
you find
so
it and how, but like, how did you find it? I mean, what's always interesting to me is like, I can remember walking by places that said yoga, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But, it was years ago. But
yeah.
it's like, how did you find it? Did you always know that it existed? See, I didn't always know it existed.
No, I don't think so. I think I don't you know what? I don't even know how I found that. I probably found maybe on YouTube probably,
Mhm.
but I can't really say that. I think I probably, you know what? I don't even know. It was so long
Yeah.
ago.
So long ago. I
I
know.
don't remember seeing a lot of studios around me or
Mhm.
anything like that. I think it was kind of something I just stumbled
Excuse me.
upon.
Mhm.
And I think it was probably YouTube that I probably found someone that I was just like, oh, okay, I can do that. Let me try
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
See how that works. So yeah,
So
that I
did you
can remember.
do videos, or did you go to a studio?
I did videos
Uh-huh.
at home. That was more comfortable for me. Um, let's see. Oh goodness. Yep, I think I didn't really start getting more into my practice until I moved to Kansas, which was in 2016. That's when I
Mhm.
really started
Mhm.
getting into it. And then it was the yoga challenges that kind of brought me into doing it more. So a
Mhm.
lot of people would tag me, and I'm like, okay, okay, let
Right.
me do this. Kind of got into the routine of doing it more just by joining yoga challenges and connecting with people through that way. And then while I was in Kansas, I found a studio to go to. They did like free outdoor sessions like on the weekends. So I would join those. And that's how I ended up going to that studio, but only in outdoors. And then I went to their studio one time. They had someone that was visiting from out of state doing a sound therapy session. So I
Oh,
went to
cool.
that. And that
Mhm.
was pretty awesome. The guy was awesome. But other than that, yeah, I never really felt eager to join a studio. Like
Yeah.
me, I don't know. I never really felt comfortable in that space to begin with.
Mhm. Was that
Cause
space, would we say that space, were there people of color in that space?
no,
No. Oh, okay.
no. So it's just like you are that one.
You are that
And
one.
a
Mhm.
couple of the outdoor ones that I did go to, I saw probably maybe two other, like someone that was of Asian descent or someone that was Asian
Mhm.
descent, one or
Mhm.
two. But everybody else, they was Caucasian.
Yeah.
And then of course me, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna stay right in the front.
It's
I
interesting.
always end up being in the front. Like I
Yes.
purposely get in the front so I can do that and get out, and I leave.
Ah, see, and that's an issue of comfort. Do people greet you? Did the teachers greet you? Because I can remember when I first went to a studio, I didn't feel welcomed. I mean, it just, I wasn't greeted. I wasn't nothing. I mean, you come in, you paid your money, you took off your
Yeah.
shoes, and you put them in a cubby. And it was like, well, okay, nobody made you feel at home, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I think like when they introduced us, it was like a general hello to everybody. It wasn't like a personal, let me walk up to every single person and say hello,
Right,
welcome. It was like
right.
a general hello, welcome. And
Well,
that's
at
what
least you
I've
got
always,
that. I didn't even.
yeah. They did do that. They did a general hello. So everybody got the hi, welcome in greeting thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Interesting. And that was in Kansas. And then you
that
continued
was
your
in Kansas.
practice. So you largely did your practice at home. I mean, I largely did my practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I largely did my practice at home, and then I like when I transitioned to moving to Kansas, I was out of work for 6 months.
Hmm.
So I was going crazy because I'm used to working.
Hmm.
And so it was like, okay, I'm at home, I don't have a job, what am I gonna do? This is not
Hmm.
working for me. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that caused me to get more into yoga practice, doing the challenges and things like that. And then I decided to go ahead and pursue getting my teacher certification. So that's
Hmm.
how I started with that. So I found an online studio that was out of state, wasn't even in Kansas. Go figure,
Hmm.
because it was cost effective and I could do it
Sure.
virtually online. So that's what I chose to do.
Hmm. Yeah. And,
With
I
that.
know a lot of people sort of minimize or poo poo the idea of online um, teacher training. But, let's just put it this way, it is the wave of the future. And
Yeah, that's true.
given COVID, it's a little bit like, I, I look at it like this. It's when I first started teaching, I guess they would call it a hybrid model when I started teaching
Hmm.
university online. And it was, you got beamed into, I was in Connecticut at the time. I'd go to New Haven and I would, I don't know, standing in a classroom with cameras, and then I could
Oh,
see the students in various parts of the state of Connecticut, and they could see
oh,
me, but I wasn't physically with them, so to speak.
right.
And that was my first entree into sort of online, sort of, but not like it is now.
Oh,
This stuff keeps popping up, driving me crazy. Um, and I can remember as the transition started to happen, and you start teaching more and more online, because I've taught in traditional bricks and mortar university,
hmm,
colleges, whatever, undergrad and grad, right? And I can remember people saying, "Oh, that'll never work. People are never going to go get degrees. They're not going to be worth anything." And that's bullshit. And I think, and now I only teach online. I mean, I've been teaching online, university kind of stuff,
yeah,
um, for, oh my God, I don't know, 12, 13 years, long before all this COVID stuff. See?
right,
And now I watch it grow, and I watch people struggle, whether it's university level or elementary or whatever, who are
hmm,
educators trying to adjust to a very different sort of process of learning. And I think it's
right,
exactly the same thing, that people, they'll go, "Oh, but you don't have the hands on. Oh, but you don't have it. Oh, but you don't." And I'm like, you know what? If you are a quick study, in my opinion, and you
yeah,
continue your practice, um, there is nothing really that you are missing. You're going to be smart enough not to do things that you can't do. I mean, that's what I do, I'm not
yeah,
going to be telling nobody. It's like people say, "I want to, you handstand. I want to handstand." I go, "I'm not teaching anybody how to handstand. This is what we're doing
exactly.
here. I'm not going to
Yeah,
do it because I'm not comfortable
right,
doing it. I don't want anybody to get hurt, whatever. I got my malpractice insurance."
exactly.
So I think
Yeah,
it's really the exact same thing. Now you watch how much of it grows, because you see all these people who are trying to jump on the bandwagon now of, how do I teach online? Whether it's through Zoom or
right.
what's the thing with a P? Patreon, pay. You know what I'm,
Patreon.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Mhm.
Because of COVID. And in all honesty, this is what's going to happen. So I think the poo-pooing the whole, that's not an adequate way of getting your teacher certification is crap. I'm sorry. People are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. I mean, I really don't
Yeah.
care. Um, I always say if you're an educator in one thing, you can be an educator in another thing if you're smart enough, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I did my teacher training online. Did I? Yes, I did my undergrad and my master's degree online
Right.
when I went to school. So, and I mean, I had to because I had kids and they were small. So it wasn't economically for me to be going to a campus and working full time and all that.
Right.
So that worked out for me. It was hard. It's a lot of work, but it was an option and I did it.
And you know
So it's
what?
the same thing.
I'm sorry. Go
So
ahead.
it's like
Hmm.
a lot of people can't get to studios, and with everything that's going on, it's like the studios are now having to adjust to online learning and
That's right.
having the teacher certification option for people to do online because no one's coming to classes and want to be in big groups and everything that's going on. So it's like I need another way of access of getting this certification, this training and teaching. And it's like if you want it, you're going to do the work.
That's right. If you want it, you're going to do the work. And now I think that that's the point. And the fact that now that we look at this continuum of more acceptance about it. And you know what? The good thing about, first of all, the point that you make about affordability, it's the same thing as you said with
Yeah.
degrees, is affordability, accessibility, and ease, really, in
Yeah.
being able to do your life given whatever circumstances there are. And why would you, just like in a university, why would I be paying for a student union or all those buildings and sports teams if I don't have to? Why would
Right.
I be spending that money?
Exactly.
So
Especially if I'm not enjoying it, if I'm not partaking, why am I paying for stuff that I don't even do? I don't participate.
that's
What's the
right.
point of that?
That's right. That's right. So that's really interesting. I'm glad that we had that conversation, that little piece of conversation. I'm sure there will be people. I'm interested in what the comments will be, because there
Oh
are
yeah,
people who spent, you spend mega bucks. If it worked for you, it worked for you. But however,
yeah.
I will say this: do not belittle someone else that
Mm-hmm.
it worked for them and it continues to
Right.
work for them, because what you did or you could afford was something that worked for you. You know, the way I look at
Yeah.
it, in all honesty, I'm gonna tell you, Unique. The way I look at it, it's a big business.
Yeah.
Yoga
It's
has
profitable.
become, so people pay all that money, and I can do exactly what you did, and I didn't spend all that money.
Right. It's mind boggling to me how much, because when I was searching for teacher certification, I was just like, wow, okay, it's $2,000 or $3,000. And I'm like, okay, this is not $2,000 or $3,000 for me to take a certification out of the country somewhere where I'm going to be paying for room and board and all this. Okay, that's understandable. But
Right.
if I'm in mainland home USA and I'm spending $2,000 or $3,000 to go to your studio for teacher training, I'm just trying to find the logic behind it. Like, why is it so expensive? And this is not
Exactly.
even you guys' stuff. You're teaching somebody else's culture, traditional practices,
Thank
and
you.
you're charging an arm and a leg for me to get this from you to teach me. And then half of y'all not even teaching the authentic stuff at that. So then I got to go behind you and do more training and more research and more work for the authenticity of it. But you charge me an arm and a leg? Nah, I don't think so.
Hmm.
No.
Now, I'm curious. I want somebody to answer that
That's just
question.
me.
No,
That's just me.
I'm
That's
with
how I
you.
feel.
I'm with you.
I don't understand why, because it's going to cost $2,000 $3,000 for me to get teach training. It's what, 8 weeks or 3 months? Like, what are you like? I don't understand. Like, is that to support your studio, to support the material? What's the cost of the breakdown of that? Is that to pay for the training, the virtual, the programs you're using? I'm just trying to figure out,
Right.
like, why?
Like, why?
Why? And that,
particularly.
me seeing that deters people from like, okay, well then I don't really want to do that. Or man, I'm gonna have to save up my coins to even just to take your class.
Right,
To me, I think that steers people away from not even wanting to do it, to even participate, or even just
right,
further along. To me, that's a turn off.
right.
That's how
And
I see it for people. You know.
and if you're smart and you pay attention, you are clearly aware that there is no governing body in any country, in any state, wherever province, wherever you live, that says, here you are licensed as a yoga instructor, yoga teacher, whatever. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Connecticut. Have been since I got out. We won't even say how long ago that was.
For a long time, you got credentials, Miss
I
Sharon.
hello, hello. I mean, I was grandmothered
Okay,
in, you know.
certified. She's certified over here.
I mean, it was yeah, it was a really long time ago, and so I have to maintain my license every year,
Right.
right? And there are certain things that I have to do in order to maintain my license, and it's under the Department of Health of the state of Connecticut. There's no such body that does that for yoga. So
No.
people created this whole process that in some ways it's just like it's a little bit like drinking the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? That said, oh, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how much you need to pay for it. And if you don't pay for it and you don't do it this way, somehow it's not valid.
Right.
Mm-mm.
I mean, even in that, if you go to the Yoga Alliance page, it's kind of like you have to take continuous courses like every 2 to 3 years, I think, after you become certified. And it's like,
Right,
okay, so I gotta come back and do some extra additional classes
right.
for that. Okay.
Okay. And where's that money going?
Yeah, but where is the clown?
Who's
I'm
getting
just like,
that money? Who created that? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
fascinating. Now, I know that there are some I can't think of it. Is it Black Yogi Alliance? Black I don't know what it is. I can't really think of that. I really need to check it out. But it's the same. It's the issue is if you are truly into yoga, it's not about you making money. You know what I'm trying to say?
yes, that's what they say. I mean, that's what you would hear from people that are from that culture that practice. It's not about that. Now, if you decide to learn from somebody and you give them an offering, you do that. It's an offering, but it's
That's
not
right.
something that they're looking for. This is
Right.
your offering to the person that you're appreciating them taking the time to even show you
Right.
that type of thing. So it's like I pay you $3,000 and then turn around and pay you another $1,000 for another certification for another continuous education course to get started. Like I don't understand that.
Mm,
I'm confused.
yeah. Well,
What's the whole
and I'm
process?
curious what the answer would be. I would love someone after they listen to this to really explain to both of us why that is because I'm like you. I did not do it in a traditional way. I'm an educator. I figure I'm smart enough to figure this out. Got my certification, and I'm good with how I did it. Now, if I choose to extend my learning in anatomy or
Yeah,
whatever, I'll do that. You know what I'm trying to say? But it's like,
right,
yeah, it's and that det- that whole issue of deterrent that you mentioned really deters those of us that are yogis of color from moving forward, where we can offer it to those
mm-hmm.
who really need it, who look like us and really, really need it, can benefit from the whole yogic philosophy and what that means.
Right. That is
Uh,
so true because it's like, man, like who gonna be coming out the wazoo with $3,000 for a 3 month course.
yeah, not me.
Who that's just got that access of money like that just to be spending.
Right.
You know, it's not a degree like you can use to get a job. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It's something. You spend $85,000 for a bachelor's or 100,000 for a master's, a PhD. Okay, that's a degree that that you've gone to school, you've taken these courses for this type of job that you're going into, and then you're getting paid for that.
Right.
As they say in the yoga community, it's not really like people don't really get paid for
No.
it.
No.
It's not like a job that somebody can actually, do for a living. Not everybody can do it for a living, should I
That's
say.
right.
Some people can do it for a living if they
Mhm.
have the access, if they have the if they're in an environment that people are going to be paying for that, then okay, yeah, you can make it.
Mhm.
But if you don't live in that type of environment, if you're not in that, then you're not doing it full time. You're doing it part time, and plus you're working to
That's
even
right.
support that.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
And there are a lot of black indigenous people of color who actually put out that kind of money to do it. And I'm not
yeah,
saying that you shouldn't, or I'm not negatively speaking to anybody out there who has done that.
yeah.
I, people make choices. You make choices in your life, and that's not a choice that I chose. And you know, but I also know that for me, teaching yoga wasn't anything that I even thought I would be doing full time. I mean, I started, well, I guess it's 8 years ago now, but I didn't even think I'd get to that point. Hell,
Right.
girl, I couldn't even sit in easy seat. What you talking about?
Right.
So,
You would
so
never think it's just a journey. See, it's just like something you go into and like, oh, I'm gonna do yoga because I'm gonna make a lot of money. Like for me, that wasn't my intention. I
no,
ain't going into it like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like, no, this is something that benefited me health wise.
right,
So let me share this with people that I know, friends and family, that this can also benefit.
yeah, right,
That's what brought that about. It was just kind of like, okay, I can do this. This can help somebody else because it helped me. So why not share that? Not
hmm.
like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a lot of money because let's be real, no.
Let's be real.
and,
No, I know, right?
and times
Um,
are changing and evolving, and people are waking up, and it's just like, okay, yoga is really not what it's cut out to be.
right.
There's underlying issues. It's a profitable business that people are capitalizing off of,
Hmm.
and it's a whole thing within itself.
Hmm. People are recognizing and seeing it. Uh, I think a lot of people are sort of like you say, waking up to. So, what is the real? What's being a real yogi? What is keeping it real as a yogi?
Yeah,
What does that really mean? And it's not about you buying Lululemons. It's not about you. It's not. It's just not. Well, it's never about that for me. Girl, I would be heading to City Trends and whatever little cheap place I could find
okay.
to find me
You
some
should be
nice
in a
leggings.
t-shirt. I'm good.
you know, I mean, they look nice, and that's cool, but that's not necessary. Absolutely not necessary. And
It's not necessary, but
mm,
people don't know that. But those are the images that are being pushed, and especially on social media. It's like yoga, you got to be skinny. Yoga, you got to be a vegan, vegetarian. Yoga, you got to be able to stand on your head without your hands. Yoga, you got to be able to do all these type of acrobatic poses. That's all you see. So people see that and they're thinking like, oh, well, for me to do yoga, I got to be this shape, I got to be this size, I got to be able to balance like that. Oh, I don't want to take part in that.
mhm,
And it's like, yeah, no.
mm. Well, how much trouble do you have convincing people who might ask you and say, "So Unique,
Uh,
what about this yoga? Is it hard for you to convince people that you don't need to be doing all that?"
it is hard because people will see me, well, they'll see my feet and be like, well, how do you do that, Unique? I want to be able to do it. And I'm just like, you just don't jump into it and you just bust out in the splits or do handstands. It takes practice. I've been doing this for a couple years. This ain't no, you just one day and I'm gonna be doing all these. It takes practice and you have to, it's a daily practice that you have to do, for yourself.
Right.
But that's not something I'm about to teach you. Like, if you're just coming here just to learn how to do a handstand or the splits because this is something you want to do in the bedroom with somebody, I ain't supposed to be doing all that. No.
Oh,
I'm just
you so flexible.
yeah, like you flexible. Just like, why do you see it and why do you got that's another issue. Like, I can't stand when people sexualize yoga for me. It
Mm,
bugs the crap out of me. I'm just like, if you
mm.
see somebody doing a certain split or pose, frog leg or goddess pose, it's like people automatically want to sexualize you. And it's just like, why? What are y'all thinking?
Yeah, why
And then
is
they're like,
that?
oh, well, put it up there. I could be fully calm and you still think like that. Like,
Right.
what is the issue?
There are a lot of trolls that be watching for that very reason.
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, no. Mm-mm.
No. Yeah.
No.
We that's a whole we could have a whole discussion on
Yeah.
that one.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, y'all. Y'all be really thirsty out here. What's wrong with y'all? Like, dang, can I practice it? Y'all not just be, you know what? People are like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
I try to tell people like I get a lot of people my age and they'll say, but Sharon, you know, you must have always been flexible. You must have always been." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You have no idea." No.
Right.
No. This is what you see is the growth over 8 years of
Hmm.
of a pretty much a daily practice. It's rare that I don't do something yoga like asana
Right.
practice. I always meditate. Um, but it's rare that I don't do something that's an asana practice. And I said, if I can, I'm going to show you. Let me show you some pictures with with my knees up to my ears,
Right.
trying to get these thighs down.
Yeah. Get them hips open. Let me show you what it look like, really.
Let me show you. And the fact that I can get him down this far, it's like you just don't know how excited I
Yeah. No,
you
they
know.
don't. People don't see the process. They see like close to your end result where you're like
Right.
already there. They didn't see the before to get there. Like
Right.
it took practice to get that.
Right. Right. And
Still working on it.
yep. And that handstand you see that I've been working on for all that time, I just held that for 3 seconds. I'm not I'm not holding it for a minute.
Right, exactly. Y'all just got the picture of it. Y'all didn't get the whole how many times I fell down and flipped over and all that.
No. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, have you had any negative experiences as a yogi of color with, um, let's just say, dominant culture folks, people of European descent in yoga? Have you? I'm curious.
I can't say that I have
Mm-hmm.
because I've never allowed myself to be put in that position where I had to go through that.
Mm-hmm. How so?
Just it's just like I just like maybe because I never stuck around long enough to even
Uh,
figure out. Because it's like
mm,
if I join something and I go to an event or like a yoga class or something, I for most not even thinking of it. I intentionally get in the front. I
mm,
sit in the front
mm-hmm,
and I do my practice, and then once it's over, I get up and I leave.
mm-hmm. So, do
It's
you
like
think
I
in some
came here
ways
for this
do you think
and
that
I
in
leave.
some ways is a protection? I'm curious.
Yeah, it is because just like I don't have time to be arguing with people. I don't got time for people attitudes. I just
Mm-hmm,
don't got time for it.
mm-hmm,
Not in my life. I don't have time for it. Like I'm not a confrontational person, so it's just like
mm-hmm.
I get a vibe and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm good.
Back
I'm
yeah,
good.
just back up.
That
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. But yeah, no, I've never really had to experience that like I know other people of color have experienced in yoga spaces
Mm-hmm.
where they felt, like they shouldn't be there, shall I say.
Right. Right. So, but
That I
there's
don't
a
think I've ever had that feeling of I shouldn't be there. I'm not welcome here.
mhm.
Don't know. And I
So
think it's probably because I've heard other people's stories, which is probably why.
maybe, maybe, huh?
It's like, oh, okay, well, they experienced that. Well, let me look out for that. Make sure I peep that. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to go through that.
Mhm. Which is what we do all the time. We as people of color, we sort of prepare ourselves for
Yeah.
situations, and we fortify ourselves in dealing with situations where we find ourselves the only or the one of few.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it's a protection, but there's a certain amount of stress that's attached to that, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
Could be.
it's because I know I have I have friends that'll say, Sharon, you get that look. I was like, oh yeah, okay. I know what look you're talking about. And it's like
I
if
mean,
I'm
I could look, probably didn't even notice because I'm just like, I ain't think about you. Like, I came here to do yoga and I'm leaving.
right,
So,
right.
it's
And
like,
so it's
yeah.
almost like, and so it makes you wonder if that protection then also keeps people away who might approach in a positive way. It's just a thought. I mean, I'm thinking of it
Yeah.
now, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of it
Yeah.
now because I've always prepared myself. Well, I've had a couple and I never went back to yoga studios where I wasn't comfortable. But as I'm thinking about it now, if I walked in there, I'm an observer anyway. I'm a clinician, so I observe. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a therapist by training. It's what I do. I observe and, take in stuff. And, so if I'm walking up to the door and I'm going to sign in, and whoever's signing me in has got that look, that little look like that. And I go, like that. And then I, go lay my mat out and people are looking at me and I'm already going, oh, okay. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Y'all ready? Okay, I'm ready
Yeah.
too. It's like, um,
That look like, you sure you're supposed to be? You in the right class? Yes.
right, right. So on some level, the protection and oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word right now, but I think it also may keep people away who might want to approach. And I'm just thinking of one one circumstance and one somebody, I don't know if it was the teacher, said something about breathing or breath work, and this white woman, she was a bigger bodied yogi, which was kind of nice to see. She was
Yeah.
white, and she said, well, some people, she looks at me, she said, some people breathe very loudly and that could really distress you. And I'm like, excuse me.
Uh,
you know my reaction was, why are you telling me? I know about breath work. I know, so I immediately got on the defensive. I did.
yeah.
And I was trying to, but I know my body said something very different than my mouth said.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
Yeah, the
my,
body language says something else than the
yeah.
mouth. That is true because some people may approach you and be like, you know what? I've gotten that from people. They're like, when I first saw you or met you, you just have this look like you just don't play. Like you ain't taking nobody shit. And I'm just like, yeah, that's true. But they were like, but then when I got to know you, you're like really nice. And I'm like, I am.
I am nice. What's the matter with
That,
you?
but it's true. Yeah, I'm just like, I am nice. I'm just like, maybe that's just, I don't know. That's how you saw me. Is that
Right.
my presence that you got from? I'm like, but I mean, it's true. I don't take no from nobody.
No.
Like, don't,
Right. No.
But once you get to know me, then it's just like, oh, okay, well, you're like pleasant and love. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm all those things.
Yeah.
But
Why
that's
did?
just what your projection of me was when you first saw me.
Right.
I didn't even
Right.
say anything. That's just what you. That's just what you got from that. But
But I
that's
think, and
your
I
own.
think that.
That's
Uh-huh.
on.
I think that that's what happens to Black women, period.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
like we have this presence about us where it makes people think like, okay, I don't want to approach her. She got this resting face, as they want to call it.
Yes. Yes.
Like, okay, She gonna snap on me if I say something wrong. If I say hi, she might turn up her nose or something like that. And it's like everybody is not like that.
Right. Right.
And it's like you can't just judge people off just looking at them like, okay, well, I don't want to talk to her. She
Right.
look like, she gonna
She look.
chop my head off if
It's
I
that
say
that that
something.
that angry black woman, that angry brown
Yeah.
woman, that angry woman of color, which could, not necessarily is, but could may be
Yeah.
translated because people need to understand the importance of our need to protect ourselves. We need to understand
Right.
it too. We need to understand it too. And once you get to know me, you go, oh, like
Yeah.
you said, hey, you're so nice.
Exactly. It's just like, oh, well, yeah.
Yes. And there are people who know me really well, who will know when, it's just you have your good friends. They'll say, y'all better back up because somebody done
Oh
said
yeah,
something.
you have those friends that know. They're like, okay, nah, maybe you should. How about you just let her be for a little bit. Oh,
Exactly.
she didn't got silent on you now. Okay, so
Right.
yeah,
Right. um and that need to it's like a code switching behavior versus in words. You know how we code switch
yeah,
because we have to, in order to survive in particularly in the US, but anywhere frankly. um we know how to use language in our professional lives, and we know how to use language in our
uh huh,
personal lives, and we
right,
code switch in order to protect ourselves. And I think that there's a physical nature to that as well. It's like I can give off, if I'm not feeling the vibe, I know I can give off, yeah, you better back up.
yeah,
Don't even try it, because I know,
right,
don't even
exactly.
go there. But I also know that I have that ability. I can code switch in a very professional way and put you in your place.
Right.
And yeah, say something to me. Be a white person. I'm talking to white people right now. Be a white person and say something to me like, "Oh, you're so articulate," and watch me.
Oh my gosh. People don't think. I feel like, do y'all ever think or stop to be like, what is this gonna sound like if it comes out my mouth to this person?
Right.
It's just like, why are you so surprised that I'm articulate? Why are you surprised that I'm polite?
Right.
Or why are you surprised that I'm educated? Or that I know certain things that I should know it? Like,
Right.
why
Why is
is
that?
that a surprise to you?
Yeah. That's a big one for me. That pushes my button. I go, "Oh
It's
no.
like,
I have 3 degrees and I'm not articulate." Right. Yeah, okay.
I shouldn't even have to tell you that. Like
No,
I
you
shouldn't have to run
shouldn't.
you down my degrees
No.
for you to prove to you that no. Like, no.
No. Yeah, and there are a few of those Sanskrit words that I can say. Yes, I can.
Yes.
But yeah, it's an interesting conversation, because I think there are a lot, that I interview and chat with allies, and
Mm-hmm.
there are people who are of European descent and allies who really get it. They really understand, and want to continue to get it, and want to continue to learn. And that is
Right.
something that is so appreciated. I, I think letting those folks know that it's appreciated that you'll listen to me say, okay, so if you're a white person, don't say nothing to me about me being articulate. Y'all think about that a minute, because you just
Yeah.
don't know what's going to get ready to come out of my mouth. You are not going to be prepared for.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not going to look like Sharon with that smile. We love your smile, and you so, yeah, you so nice. No, because what's going to come out of my mouth in a very professional way is not going to be.
Right.
So I appreciate those people who are willing to do the hard work,
Mm-hmm.
to continue to do the hard work to bridge the gaps that need to be bridged. especially in wellness, especially in wellness,
Yes.
because we struggle. There, I saw an article that said there are a number of cities, was it cities or states, that said racism is has been declared a number one health issue. I can't remember if there was. I gotta look for it. Cities or states. Um, Health issue. And they don't understand the impact of ongoing microaggressions and not so micro, but macroaggressions that happened
Yeah.
to us as people of color and what that means in terms of how we have to function on on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a real thing, and a lot of people like to sweep it under the rug like it isn't until it happens to them. And then it's like, oh,
Mm,
okay, well, now you got to deal with it because it's in your face.
right, right.
But you keep sweeping under the rug, and it's like you. This is something that's inevitable. You can't run from it. It's here. It's always been here. It's just now that you're seeing it.
Just
It's been
now.
globalized. It's been televised. It's been video recorded. It's been shared. Now it's out.
Globalized. There's the word. No,
So
seriously, seriously. You see all
it's
these
just like,
countries
okay,
all
now.
over the world now sort of bringing it forward. Globalized. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's like now it's out there. What y'all gonna do about it? Y'all keep sweeping under the rug because this generation ain't about sweeping nothing under the rug.
Yeah, it's
They
the truth.
ain't turning over cheeks. They about to tell you like it is
Right.
and keep it pushing.
That's right. It's nice
So
to
it's just like,
see from this old lady to a younger generation. It's nice to see,
yeah,
someone who, grew up in my teen years in the 60s and Black Power and demonstrations and
yeah,
sit-ins and teach-ins and all of that stuff. And then there was this period of, wow, nobody's doing nothing. What come on, people. And now to see what is starting to happen
hmm,
again, but it's moving it forward. You know what I mean? It's like moving it forward. It's just like I'm glad I'm alive to see it. Honest to God, I swear, I'm glad I'm alive to
yeah.
see it. It's the
Because it's
it's.
like, how long do y'all actually think this can continue to go on and y'all can just live like this?
Mhm.
It ain't no way. I mean, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, but
Yeah,
you know, it needs to happen.
right. It definitely
Y'all need
needs
to
to
go ahead
happen.
and just prepare yourselves to move on out the way. Cause
Hmm. So here's a question for you: Are you teaching yoga now? You teach?
I teach yoga now. I'm open to teaching yoga. Yeah, I do it virtually. So
Hmm.
I like to, that's my way of making it accessible to everyone.
Hmm.
And so me getting into that, I've never even wanted to even go to work in nobody's studio. No, a gym, no. Mm-mm. I'd rather do it from the comfort of my home and from their home so they can get it like how they get it.
That's right.
So they can feel
Hmm.
comfortable in that space and not be looking around and be like, oh, am I doing it wrong? Why do I have to be doing it like this? Like, no, your practice is your practice how you do it.
That's right. Yeah. And supporting people in that practice the way that you can. That's kind of how, I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I'm doing my practice. Now I haven't taught in a while now. Someone asked me about doing some private work. I used to do a lot of private work and I used to do a lot of community um yoga on the beach in Pompano Beach in Florida, and it was just like it was a donation class. You have money, you didn't have money. I didn't care. It was just
Yeah.
really nice to be able to do that. And I'm hoping to, I was hoping to do that more now, but of
Yeah.
course it's harder. So, but I'm gonna start doing more online, sort of zooming in to people's
Mm-hmm.
homes and whatnot that people keep asking because so many people are now sedentary too. They're home.
Yeah, they're home now. Mm-hmm. A lot of jobs are switching to be now you at home all day. So now you need something to do to be able to release that stress. You sitting
That's
10,
right.
8 hours a day. So it's like, yeah, you ain't
Yeah,
got to go to a studio and pay an arm and a leg to get teaching. You can join on virtual Zoom and get the same information.
there you go. For sure. That's the truth. Um, any thoughts or any last comments or oh wait, tell people about your Tuesday thing. I want people.
Okay, so
I don't want to forget. Right.
oh yeah, so I don't know how that started about. Yeah, I just
Yeah, how did
decided
it
to just,
start?
I just had this thought of like, because I love drinking tea. I'm a tea drinker. And I just woke up with this thought like, maybe I should just do a live video where I just sip tea and talk to different people, especially like friends and family, because I know some of them are starting businesses and they have different things they're doing. This is just something I can give back to them to promote your business or your services and me just chat with you and, share the different teas that I drink and stuff like that's how that came about.
And what's it
So
called
that
so
normally
people can
happens. Yeah, it's called Tea O'Clock Tuesdays with Yogi Neek. So for the past month or two, probably I've been doing it every Tuesday, but now I'm transitioning to do it probably every other Tuesday.
hmm
So sometimes it's me by myself talking, and sometimes I have a guest, and they'll share their experience and all about them, that sort of thing. But
cool.
yeah,
That's really good. So I mean, I want people to not only follow you, but to check out your past chats. They're really,
oh
really
yeah,
very interesting. You've had some great people on. I've really enjoyed them. But I thought it was very cool. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, sit and sip some tea and chat. Yeah, I like that.
yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah, I love it. It's fun. Yeah. So it's a good experience for me, and it's something I wanted to do to kind of connect with other people of color or people not of color, of course, you see,
Yes, yes, yes.
um, that are yogis and not yogis, just from all different walks of life,
Right.
all
hmm
that. So that's kind of my way of reaching out to people that I know that I'm social friends with
hmm
outside of that.
hmm
So yeah.
Great. That's
And it's
great.
good to chat with people like this. This is awesome. Like if you could chat with people from all over the world, like that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I'm having a real ball. I'm like you. It's sort of like I woke up one day and said, "Oh, why don't I just do this?" It's interesting how
Yeah.
in the quiet, my friend Wendy, who has Reinvention Rebels, she has a new podcast, and I was on the podcast. But when we were talking about it, we shared, or she shared with me, Sharon, your best ideas come to you, because I was telling her I'm trying to figure out what to do with this, and she said your best ideas
Hmm.
come. My best ideas came to me when I'm quiet, you know,
Yes.
quiet in the big sense, quiet. And I thought about that, and I was like, because sometimes you have an idea and you're trying to like, what should I call it? What should I do? How should I do this? You're putting all this energy into it, and it's just like, just chill a minute and
Yeah.
allow it to percolate, allow the spirit connection to it to develop, and it'll come to
Hmm.
you in its divine time. And that's how this came to me. And it's just like I'm like, I'm talking to people from everywhere. I can't wait to, I'm building these so that I can post
Yeah.
on a weekly basis on YouTube. But I mean, I talk to expat yogis who are African but living in Germany. I have someone I'm going to talk to who's Egyptian and she's in
Oh
Egypt.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just so
That's exciting.
exciting, and to
It is
share
exciting.
and to
Yes.
share. So it's been wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know it's in the morning. Are you an early riser? Out of curiosity, I'm not.
I am. And that's only because I homeschool my kids now.
Uh-huh.
So I'm up at like 8.
Oh,
Or it's
okay.
actually 7. I wake up before my alarm. So I'm like on auto wake up same time every day, even on the weekend. And then,
Oh,
I'll go back and sleep if I need to. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm up.
Like so many people adjusting to the, as they say, the new normal. That's not gonna be so new. You know, it's gonna be what is.
That's true.
It's gonna be what is. Well, thank you so
It's
much. I so appreciate you taking the time this morning, all the way from Georgia, to
Yes, thank you for
chat.
having me.
Oh,
I
you're.
appreciate it. I love what you're doing, Sharon. I enjoyed all your videos too. They're
Oh,
so interesting to see
thank you.
people, allies, should I say. Allies are like very interesting to see. There's people out
Yes,
there.
there are people out there who are
Hey,
allies. Yes, and we need
they
to
get
know
it
that.
and they want to.
Right. Right.
That's the big thing. Like they put forth the effort to want to learn, to want to experience, to want to just put that foot forward.
Yeah. They're
So it's
out
like
there.
as long as you're putting the forth the effort, sure, yeah. If you ain't putting no effort, then I ain't finna talk to you, and I ain't about to argue with you about nothing either.
Just gonna let it
Go
go. I
on.
hear you. Go on about your business.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
Well, thank you, sweetie. I really, really do appreciate it. I want everybody to follow and like
Welcome.
and, check out your tea talks. And we will definitely see if we can do this again. It'll be fun to do it.
Yes,
I'm thinking
most
about pulling
definitely.
together like a panel. I don't know how to work it out yet, but it's in my mind. I'm going to let it percolate, like a
I
panel.
heard you say that one time before, and I was like, that would be so awesome to have like a
Yeah.
bunch of people
Hmm.
on a call. Just
Yep.
that's great.
Yeah.
It'd be
So
great.
we'll see how that works out. But, I'm definitely going to do it. So you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'll definitely be in touch. You take care. Love you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye now.